Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about two absolute super helpers in the world of matrices, minors and cofactors. Now I know they sound a bit technical, but trust me, they are the secret weapons that make really big concepts like determinants and inverses so much easier to understand. So let's jump right in. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what a minor is. Then we'll level up to cofactors. After that, I'm going to show you a really cool trick to solve determinants way faster. We'll also look at some common mistakes so you can avoid them, and then we'll wrap it all up with a quick recap. Super simple, super clear.
Okay, before we get into the heavy math, let's think about it like this. Imagine your matrix is your gaming squad, like in BGMI or Valorant. The determinant of that matrix, that's your squad's total power level. So then, what are minors and cofactors? Well, they're how we figure out the individual contribution of each player, their own personal power and strategic value to the team. Let's see how it works. Right then, first things first, what is a minor? This is the absolute foundation for everything else we're going to do today. And the best part is, it's actually really, really simple. Don't worry, this is much easier than it looks.
So, the official NCRT definition sounds a bit complicated, doesn't it? But all it's really saying is that a minor is just a tiny determinant that you find inside the bigger matrix. It's like a mini puzzle. Let me just show you.
It's really just a simple three-step process. First, you pick any element in the matrix, any one you want. Second, you just imagine that its entire row and its entire column just poof, they're gone. And third, you just find the determinant of that smaller little matrix that's left behind. That number you get, that's the minor. That's all it is. Let's make this crystal clear with an example straight from your textbook. We've got this 3x3 determinant here, and our mission is to find the minor of the element 6. Okay, so first, where is the 6? It's in the second row and the third column, right? So what do our steps say? We delete that entire row and that entire column. So what's left behind? We get a simple 2x2 matrix, 1, 2, 7, and 8. Now we just find its determinant, which is always AD minus BC. So that's 1 times 8 minus 2 times 7, which is 8 minus 14, giving us negative 6. And there we have it. The minor of 6, which we call M23, is negative 6. See? Told you it was easy. All right, so you're basically a pro at finding minors now. Let's level up to cofactors. And I promise you, this is just one tiny, tiny step more. So what even is a cofactor? Well, check this out. The only difference, and I mean the only difference between a minor and a cofactor is a sign. That's it. The minor is just the number we calculated, like negative 6. The cofactor is that same number, but we have to decide if it gets a plus or a minus sign in front of it. So yeah, you can think of it as a powered-up minor that knows its place. But that's the most important question, right? Where does this plus or minus sign actually come from? Is it just random? Nope, not at all. There is a very simple fixed system for it. And here it is. I call this the vibe map. It's basically a fixed checkerboard pattern of signs. The top left corner always starts with a plus, and then it just alternates from there. Plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. You get it. The key thing here is that the sign depends only on the position, the vibe of that spot, and not on the actual number in the matrix. Now, in your textbook, you're going to see this formula here. Don't let it scare you. This is just the fancy maths way of writing our simple vibe map. If I plus j is an even number, minus 1 to the power of that is just plus 1. If I plus j is an odd number, you get minus 1. See? It gives you the exact same checkerboard pattern. Okay, let's go back to our example. We found that the minor M23 was negative 6. Now, what's the vibe at its position, which is 2, 3, second row, third column? Let's check our vibe map. It's a minus. So to get the cofactor A23, we just take that minus sign and multiply it with our minor. So it's negative 1 times negative 6, which gives us positive 6. And that's our cofactor. Done. All right, now we get to the big question. Why are we even learning all this? What's the point? Well, this is the payoff. Minors and cofactors give us an amazing shortcut to find the determinant of a really big matrix. I call it the cofactor expansion trick. This rule from your textbook is everything. It basically says you can find the entire determinant by just picking any row you want or any column, multiplying each element by its own personal cofactor, and then just adding all those results up. This is a total game changer. And here is the pro tip for your exams, okay? Pay attention. Before you even start calculating, just quickly scan the matrix. Do you see a row or a column with a lot of zeros in it? If you do, pick that one. Why? Because what is 0 multiplied by anything? It's 0. So every time you have a 0, that whole element times cofactor calculation just disappears. This means less work, less chance of making a silly mistake, and you get the answer so much faster.
Okay, let's quickly talk about some common traps. Honestly, most students get a bit confused here, but once you know what these mistakes are, you'll know exactly how to avoid them. Here are the top 4. First, the biggest one, forgetting the sign. Just using the minor instead of the cofactor. You have to remember the vibe map. Second, messing up the vibe map pattern itself. Maybe starting with a minus. No, it's always plus in the top left. Third, just deleting the wrong row or column by mistake when you're in a hurry. And finally, the classic silly mistake, messing up the simple AD minus BC calculation. Just double-check your multiplication. Okay, we have covered a lot, but you're doing great. Let's just do a super fast final recap to lock all these ideas into your brain for good. First up, the minor. What is it? Simple. You pick an element, you delete its row and column, and you find the determinant of the small matrix that's left over. And what about a cofactor? Well, that's just the minor you just found, but you multiply it by the correct sign, the plus or minus, that comes from its position on our vibe map. The minor is the value. The cofactor is the value with its positional power. So the most crucial point is this. Mastering minors and cofactors isn't just about determinants. It is the essential key that you need to unlock the next level in matrices, finding the adjoint and, the really big one, the inverse of a matrix. You have built a super strong foundation today. You've totally got this. So I'll leave you with this final thought. We said minors and cofactors help you find the power of each individual player in your squad. So the next big question is, how can you use that knowledge to figure out your squad's ultimate countermove, its secret weapon, the inverse? Think about that, and I'll see you in the next one.